Comfort kills revenue because you have no inspiration to go get more. You'll sit and say, hey, look, I'm good. I got some cash. I got some money in my pocket and I won't go do anymore. That's what Smart Money Live is all about. It's about waking up the inspiration inside of you because you're waking up that you need to get up and go do something in the world. Human brain is not built on abundance. It's actually built on surviving. I know a lot of people want to be out there and say, oh, it's about abundance. Just be abundant. That's not completely accurate because it's not about abundance. It's about moving your brain to evolution to get to abundance. We don't randomly get there. It's a path and a process and a trajectory. And so when you look at it, you say, hey, look, I've got my back against the wall. I got nothing to lose. I go all out and I do whatever it takes to make myself succeed, survive, eat, whatever you got to do to survive. That's a human brain, human psychology. You're going to do that. Now you may say, look, I got nothing in my bank account. I got nothing in my pocket. And maybe you're like Macklemore with $20 in your pocket, but you'll take that $20 and you'll go and do something with it. And so you go out there and you go and sell, service, do whatever you got to do to help the world become a better place. And if we think about that, we think about our life, we think about when we have our back against the wall, we'll do whatever it takes and with zero regard of our own reputation, of what we look like, the image, we just say, let's go because I got to do what I got to do. I'll give you an example, another example. If I said to you, hey, look, I'm going to put a gun to your head and I'm going to put a gun to your head. And what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to take your kids. If I put a gun to your head, but I get you to create $10,000. If I said to you, put a gun to your head and I'll take your kids, but you don't get them back unless you come up with $10,000 in 24 hours. So let me ask you a question. If you think you can do it when there's enough pressure behind your back, it's when we get into comfort that we stop ourselves from doing it, right? Now, I'm not saying you live your life in a constant state of pressure where you think that someone's going to take your kids every day. But what if you realize that the actual place of growth doesn't exist when you're comfortable and it doesn't exist when you're in extreme chaos? That the real place of growth exists when you're in a perfect harmony between balance, between hard work, and your back against the wall and abundant. When you have just amount of support and just amount of challenge going on in your life, that's when growth happens. As Viktor Frankl said, we seek happiness, and those who seek happiness start to destroy their life. It's true. When we start seeking happiness, we start to destroy our life. And as that process happens, we lose ourselves. Happiness destroys you versus builds you. It's not what you want to hear, I know. This is a motivational program. Aren't you guys glad you're here? Get motivated. No, it's not about that. But here's the thing, what happens is that let's say you start to succeed. You start to succeed, you start making some money, you start to grow a little bit, and then you start to grow and make money. But here's the problem that happens is that you start making money, and now you've got $10,000, $20,000 in your pocket, right? You went from Macklemore to, I can't even think of an artist who has $20,000 in his pocket, right? Maybe you've got $100,000, maybe you got $1 million in your pocket. Now, how willing to go to the same level at the very beginning with that same grind, that same mentality, same effort do you have to go out and work as hard as you did at that time? What's the answer to that? Zilch, zero, none. Zilch, zero, none. There's no way you're going to work that hard when you've got money in your pocket. You're like, you know what? I'm going to take a break. I'm comfortable. What if you have $1,000 in your pocket and you say, hey, look, I can go out there and I'll give you a job and you can sweep up these the leaves on my yard and I'll give you another $1. Would you go do it for another $1? No. How motivated are you to work for that $1? No. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is this, is that the more money you have a depreciating motivation level, the greater the assets you build. Do you guys get that? The greater the money you have, the less motivated you are to make the next $1 in your life. The less motivated you'll be to go out and make more money. So you'll sit and say, I want to make more money. I want to go do things for money. Yeah, that may be true, but that's less you're going to have. The more money you have, the less motivated you are to go create more money. So please understand, when some of you sit and say, you know what, my life, I would go work so much harder if I have $1 million in my bank account. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. That's complete bullshit. Like, it's just not true. You would not do that. Your brain doesn't work that way. Unless you realize that you have something of inspiration to give to the world. Unless you realize that it's not about money, that it's about your health and serving the world in a very different way. Unless you realize that money is simply the byproduct of the amount of inspiration you've expressed into the world, you would not be inspired to get up and make more money. Because it's not about the money. It wouldn't be. How many times have you seen people who didn't have money, got a little bit of money, they blew it to end up with zero? We all have. Everyone's seen it, right? And so if you're not inspired to get up and go create revenue, what makes you think you're going to show up and say, when my life is better with more money, I'd go to work differently, I'd make more? You won't. You won't. Because there'll be a diminishing law of return and motivation and inspiration for you to go make more money. Comfort kills revenue. Write it down. Comfort kills revenue. Because you have no inspiration to go get up more, go get more. You'll sit and say, hey, look, I'm good. I got some cash. I got some money in my pocket, and I won't go do anymore. That's what Smart Money Live is all about. It's about waking up the inspiration inside of you, because you're waking up that you need to get up and go do something in the world. It's about waking up your cause to sit and say, I'm going to make a bigger difference in the world. Because when you had no money, you went out and did amazing things. And you created the most creative marketing idea, creative strategy. But when you got rich and fat, you stopped doing anything. All types of thinking are valuable. So this idea that you're going to be positive without negative, delusion. This thinking that you're going to be negative without positive, delusion. Ultimately, what you want to be is you want to be in a state of perfect harmony so that you can look at emotions when they're needed and use motivation and emotion for growth, but also look critical thinking for decision making. That's the ultimate state you want to be, where you can use logic to make critical thinking decisions, but you can use your emotions to help protect you in the course of life. That, my friends, is a very different way of existing. That is using all aspects of thinking and all wealth aspects of thinking. That's where you grow your wealth. That's where you grow your income inside of it. Because it's not about one level. It's about all levels inside of it. But when you're stuck in a fear of loss, you're deluded. You're deluded to the income. You're deluded to the revenue, and you're addicted to the outcome. Whatever you become addicted to, you'll attract the exact opposite. I promise you. Don't be obsessed. The more obsessed you become, the further it runs from you. And my world is not about teaching people just what people have taught and said before. I want people to think through things. And I've spent the last 30 years studying the neuroscience, psychology, interpersonal neurobiology, physiology, pathology to understand how the mind, body, and brain work so that we can actually think about this accurately. We can take someone's blood work and reverse engineer and create their psychology and rewire their psychology and change their blood work. We're doing EEGs to actually show brain age, and we're reducing people's brain ages from 48 years old to 24 years old in 40 minutes. Personal development doesn't do that. Mm-hmm. Personal development bridges the idea, feel good, feel better, feel good, feel better. 3 to 4 days later, you freaking crash, and you're like, what happened? Oh, it must be something wrong with me because the guru must be right. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in telling you the truth so that you can empower your life, master it so you can grow beyond that.